All right, how you guys doing? So I'm gonna give y'all a quick little backstory, real quick. I come from an all-black family, which I don't look at as like bad or negative or nothing. I'm just putting that in here for context for this video. But the reason this is an expired the reason that why this video is inspired was I had a conversation with a family member the other day. We were just playing the game, whatever, and I can't remember how we got on the topic or the subject, but we ended up talking about like dating outside of the race and how like it's in the black community sometimes always viewed as like a bad, not like always viewed as a bad thing, but like most of the time the older people of the generation view it as like a bad thing. I don't know if y'all know who Dr. Umar is, nothing like that. I have nothing against him personally. If you want to do your own research on him, you can. But I'm pretty sure he's a big advocate for like keeping black families together and like keeping the lineage pure or stuff like that, right? And like I said, nothing against him. But my family member, right? The conversation we had was they said they personally don't have nothing against like dating outside the race and all that. But if they were to like, this is the analogy they gave. If they were to build an empire or this and that and work hard, and then they have a grandchild and they're looking at their grandchild and the grandchild is lighter than them and this and that, and they can't tell if that's a African American child, then it's like, what was the point in the build and all this and that? And then me personally, it's never really mattered to me. I never really cared, and I'll give you guys my reason behind that why. I was also able to somewhat convince my relative, like, maybe that's not how it should be. And the reason I never personally cared, and the same reason I told my relative, if you really think about it, I know that like, well, this kind of plays into religion a little bit, but I know that this isn't like our final forms. This is like just a temporary body we're using on this planet, right? This is all just flesh and skin. This is not our soul, our body, which means people overvalue it, right? You want to keep the DNA and the bloodline pure, and you want to keep it this and that, and you don't want light skinned grandchildren, this and that. Why does it matter? Because the soul inside of the body is the person, and this is just the outside. So I honestly don't think mixing families or any of that really has an effect or matters in the long run, because we're all just overvaluating our own flesh and skin. We're idolizing our skin and everything on this planet that's not gonna be here years down the line. Like when it's time for everyone to like, go into the afterlife and pass forward and all that, no one's gonna care about the skin color you wore on this planet. You get what I'm saying? And even from the sense of like just people who do have mixed families, it seems more of like you kind of limit yourself to who you could potentially actually be like soulmates with or whatever, just because you're only going off of a certain majority of people, right? Like if you're only limited to a certain community or you're only limited to the community you grew up in, you now have a whole a whole list of people and things that you can't experience because you're tying yourself down to one thing specifically, and you're predetermining who you're gonna be with. I view relationships as like a one time thing. You should be in them, and like you should stay with that person. You shouldn't be like jumping from relationship to relationship. Of course, not all relationships work out, but I think the intent should be long term, right? Not just messing around. So if you're only limiting yourself to one community, it's kind of like you're predetermining who you're going to be with without even understanding that you could have chemistry with someone else. And that's why I don't know, I've just never truly like cared about trying to find someone in the black community or this community or this. I truly never. I always knew, even from like a young, even from like being young and like a kid, I always knew like I'm not gonna nitpick who comes in my life, because you can't really, it just kind of naturally happens. You just know when it happens, and you don't really have a choice over, what I mean, who that is or what they look like. So I don't know. I think the black community struggles with this the most, in the sense of, even online, I see a lot of black women, and we always say we love the black queens, this and that. We got nothing against them, but they seem super, like, I don't want to say upset, but it's just more like a disappointment thing for you to like bring home a girl who's not of color. It's like, yo, he's turned his back on his heritage, this and that. And like I said earlier, I don't believe in none of that, because the inheritages and this, and I get it. There's been people who lived way before us, way before us, people who you know, died so we could live, and people who came together, did this, they survived this. This is our teachings. All, like I said, right? Understandable, but we can't take none of that with us. So it's like I'm not discrediting it and saying it doesn't matter. I'm just saying like I'm not gonna live my entire life. I'm not gonna try to formulate and live perfectly on this planet in the sense of like everything has to be this way just for it to all not matter. And I'm living my life for like what matters, which is life after death, right? Because this is so temporary that it's like there's no point in trying to. You get what I'm trying to say? So like back to the Black Queens, right? They seem to be more like disappointed and all that when you bring home uh partners that aren't like colored or someone who's outside the community, and they say you're turning your back on them, this and that, and it's always a problem when you do that. But it's like I don't see how that means anything or how that makes a difference, right? Because just because you're this color doesn't mean you have to date another color. And then on the flip side, a lot of people look at it crazy, right? When people of non-color be like, yeah, you can't bring home, you know what I mean? They look at it crazy, like, yo, what you mean you can't bring home a man? You know what I mean? Like, so in my opinion, I feel that's hypocritical in that sense. But even if that's a whole nother conversation, but it's just I feel like we all look at it way too deeply. We're looking at it from the surface level of this color, this color, this color. And we've been having these conversations for years now. It's to the point where it's just so dried out. It's so tiring. We talk about the same thing over and over and over and over, and we never make no progression because everyone still has a problem with it, and they don't want to realize that they do. It's like, what's the point? But that's all I really want to talk about. Appreciate you guys for watching. Keep it short, sweet, and simple. Cool little video. I'm gonna catch you guys next upload. Stay safe, stay blessed. Keep God in you guys' lives, and I'll catch you guys later.